That's great. That's great. Any questions so far? We're about halfway through our time here. Please.
So, question for Chris. How do you sell, your dealership, how do you sell the product, for example, the Nano-N? Do you do it on, hey, you're going to put out less nitrogen, or do you do it, we're going to get higher yields? Or so what's your sales process?
What's your sales process?
And I think that process goes across all the products. So you can take a philosophy of reduce or produce. What do you need to do, right? Are you getting the performance that you want in your field, or do you need more performance? And then we'll adjust your program based on that. So, do they have to save money? Then we can dial back. And we can get you back to where you would have been with your standard rate. Are you looking for a yield increase? Your costs can absorb less than $10, then we'll do that. So we go both ways, to be quite honest.
Yeah, please.
I run into that this year too a lot, because everybody's counting every dime, especially with fertilizer costs the way they are, chemical shortages, what you're paying for chemicals. So everybody's watching every dollar. But one thing that I've been able to get people to do is to determine what they're going to spend on liquid nitrogen, figure out what it's going to cost to put your nano in with it, and that's all you cut back. $6, $7 is not a whole lot of nitrogen. It's not going to make or break. Whether you may spill that much on the way to the field, but you're getting a much more efficient delivery of that amount that you're putting down, and you're not spending any more money.
And we've done the same thing.
Yeah.
Even with active ingredients.
I think in our particular area, the industry's probably been a little guilty of over-applying fertilizer and not really realizing the adverse effects that can cause, especially as our water quality has been decreasing and how much sodium chloride and other antagonists come along with a lot of these large applications of fertilizer. So I think that's been a big selling point for us from a stress mitigation standpoint. And also with regulation coming down, kind of a little bit of a security blanket for the growers that are pretty used to putting on a certain amount, helping them be more comfortable with those cutbacks, knowing that this product is helping that delivery and that efficiency.
Jim, any comment on that?
Yes. We know when you talk about the word sales, we had one producer come up to us and told us he wanted us to change the S word. Okay? It's not sales. Gary Wagner is his name. I can name names up in Minnesota. And Gary said, he said, I don't know what you're doing to explain this to other producers, and how are you going out to meet more people? And that was when we were first getting started. And we said, well, we're going door to door. I mean, we're going out and introducing ourselves and letting people do works of trial. And when Gary changed the word from sales, he took the S word and said story. He said, I'll share a story with you. We have a gentleman here from Fargo with us who works for Ag Week TV. We went live on TV. We went in 2020, in August of 2020. We went public. And Gary Wagner was the gentleman who said, I'm going to tell other people about this. So one of the best things, like we were talking about in sales, is not coming out of our mouths. It's when farmers hear other farmers talking about what's taking place. And then we're there to back up. We call ourselves the middleman. We're there to back up and give the technology information and help them through everything that they need to do to move forward. But when farmers hear about other farmers doing this and being successful with it, man, does the truth really come up to them and come out. And they may even live, somebody may even live 100 miles away. And Gary was one of the guys that said to us, he said, if you have anybody that's interested that I don't know, here's my number. And we've had that happen too, so that's sales. Oops, that's the story.
Thank you. Any questions, these guys along the way? Yes, Rich.
He can probably hear me anyway. Excuse me. question for Jim. In your sugar beet area, when you're going back out with fungicide, are you alternating or layering other nano products together? And if so, what else are you layering with that alongside with the fungicide?
Well, we can go into a lot of details. NanoK has been a big part with fungicide applications. And we've got two gentlemen sitting up here that could give you, we won't go into now, but it'll be fun to introduce them to you at the end here, to give you some statistics of even, especially this year, with what we saw with NanoK going out there and the fungicide application rates, where they were using it maybe 3 or 4 applications. But what their results were coming back, the bricks level was incredible that we saw again this year, in spite of the drought. So.
Anyone else? Okay. Sonny, back to you. You mentioned NanoPro. All across the big geography and multiple climate zones, from warm season transition moving further north. And we all know that as we move around the country, there's cultural changes just from one area to another. Is there a common sales approach that you teach within your team as you move through that geography? What's the commonality? What are the go-to, I don't want to say pitch, that's the wrong word, but
Well, you're correct. When you go from Texas all the way up to Indiana, northern Indiana, Michigan, they're different type of people. And I have found that the willing to try, I'm just to be honest, I'm a lot like the 2 young ladies we had up here earlier today. I keep it real. I make a lot of people mad sometimes, but I'm honest with you. The folks down south and up, as you move your way up, are a little bit more apt to try, you know, and to give you the feedback. When you get into the Corn Belt area, they're a lot tougher. You know, they want to, what's the data? They want to drill you down on the questions for 30, 45 minutes. And at the end of the day, all I'm asking to do is try it, you know. But the common sales approach is just, you know, to the point made earlier about the story. You know, it was Jim said that. You know, just telling the story. Just be honest. I tell people all the time, I don't sell anything. I present information. I let you know what other people are having success with doing. And it's like you try the product. And to me, 9 times out of 10, that works. And ultimately, people buy from people. I mean, so you just gotta be honest and sincere and want to help them. And you know, if they're willing to work with you, great. Cultivate that friendship. If they're not, be nice and move on down the road. There's way too many people out there that want to work with you and need and want your information. And you know, compared to spending time with somebody who wants to educate you on what you don't know. So,
thank you. Keston, you guys have you've been around a long time, and you have a diversity of customers that are growing diverse crops. What are the commonalities in your agronomy team and your approach in helping these people from, you know, start to finish?
I think our biggest thing is asking a lot of questions and listening, trying to identify where the problems are, where the challenges are, where the lowest hanging fruit is, and once again, making that custom approach for that particular grower. But I think so many times salespeople talk a lot and they don't ask any questions. And I think that they miss a lot of opportunities to help growers solve problems. A lot of the growers that we deal with are very busy keeping their business afloat, and they don't probably get to spend as much time on the farm. They're aware of a lot of the problems that exist, but they're kind of like that project paralysis where they don't really do anything. So for us to be able to come in and help understand what those problems are and offer up solutions has been the most beneficial approach for us to gain that trust and to solve those problems.
Thank you. Chris, Jim, anything to add?
You're next. The technology side, I'm going to start there and be done in 30 seconds. We're not tissue sample pullers, we're not soil sample pullers, but we're out pulling tissues, we're out pulling soils all the time. And the portion of that is the educational part of it. And the technology is this gentleman right here, when we give Tom all the information that we need to get back to that producer, it could be a mile long of explanation of what's taking place. And when the farmers get a chance to take a look at that and read the seed, and then they follow the activity of, we're not telling them what to do, Tom, we're strong at giving farmers options to choose. And we've had some farmers, now it's not taking longer than I said I was gonna. We have farmers come back and say, I get to make a choice. And I'm not picking on anybody out there that we are maybe competing with, but we're not telling farmers what to do, we're giving them the options to make choices. And we've had some more older producers saying, I've been doing this and I've been just listening to being told what to do for many, many years. I get to be back in charge of my business. I can make a choice and follow this. And when we do that, when we've got the technology put together and the recommendations put together and they sit and watch things come back and take place, it's really fun to be there and to see what takes place and how it happens.
So we have to be proactive selling this technology. Everybody can grow their crop without it, and they have been for a long time. But and we call it a proactive sales versus a reactive sales with Matthew, but it's really a proactive solution versus a reactive. No one's just going to call up and order Roundup from Try. We don't sell it. We have very narrow focused products and all solution-based products. So if you're coming with solutions and proactively providing those solutions, I think it makes all the difference.
Thank you. Sonny, back over to you. For your work, what is it that keeps you up at night,
Work-wise?
work-wise?
Is my partner. Time.
We don't have that kind of time.
We'll have you up here next.
Oh, you don't want to?
I think really it's time. I mean, our struggles are the same as everybody's. It's time. Your list to do continues to grow every day. You just reshuffle and reorganize. And the most understanding guy always ends up at the bottom, you know, for a week or two. But I'd say that's it. And then I think, you know, too, you know there are challenges in the marketplace that are affecting farmers. And you know that it's going to affect your business as well. How much harder you have to work. And in addition to sharing the same concerns and emotions that your customers have. Because when you work with somebody for so long, they actually become, you know, good friends. So that's it. I think just time and just big picture stuff. And my partner.
Question back here, sir.
I think, and this is for the panel and it's for anybody in the room, I think there's a lot of question maybe in this room, but I know we all get it in the field whenever we're asked, why don't I just use Nano Pro only, and I'll mix my nitrogen with it, or I'll mix my microbes with it, and I can just use one product. And I'd love to have the rebuttal for that whenever I get it.
Chris, you want to take a stab at that? Justin? Chris?
We struggle with that even within our own organization, is just how much inventory do you want to carry and how much risk do you want to expose yourself to. So there actually are situations where we encourage growers to simplify it and use a product like Pro. And that, for them, them, as somebody mentioned it earlier, you start getting down to that third, fourth, fifth product, and you kind of see everybody plays over. So for the guys that maybe are a little new to fertilizer technology in general, that's a great starting point, and I don't think there's anything wrong with starting there, creating a comfort level, and then as that data's coming in and as information's coming back from the farm in season, maybe there's an opportunity to recommend something to address a specific deficiency. But I think that there's nothing wrong with encouraging the growers to simplify their approach when using the nano products.
So we get that a lot, and being one of the early guys, we never claimed nitrogen benefit with nano anything. It was phosphorus, potassium, micros. Nano-N is a different nanoparticle. It's not the same nanoparticle as NanoPro. It was tuned and built for nitrogen. Funny thing is, it does potassium is good or better than nitrogen. So why do you have this model car versus this model car, right? Why do you drive a Denali versus a white work truck? They have different jobs. 4 doors versus 2 doors.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, please, like an incentive.
Do you want me to jump on the stage? I just opened a dealership in Emory, Utah. 400 citizens in that town. No, I just wanted to add, you absolutely can, if you wanted to just add our nanotechnology, either NanoPro or Nano-N, to your blends, you can absolutely do that. If the grower wants to do that, they can absolutely do that. What we found is, like Chris just said, everybody has a little bit different preference. Some people want the branded products, they want a calcium product, they want a potassium product, and we have great products. But we also have a simple button if some people want to do that too. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure.
Thank you, Sonny.
I have a question before I give a comment.
Can I just say, I'm getting coached here. As Chris said, NanoPro and Nano-N have different nanoparticles. NanoPro is for your chemistry, and we've tuned it for that, and it works extremely well for that. It's not to say it won't help with nutrients, but NanoPro is designed for chemistry. Nano-N is designed for your fertilizer. And you could really call it, the N stands for nutrient, not just nitrogen, because it kicks butt with other nutrients as well. Anything else, Coach? He's a great coach. His wife's a better coach.
I have a question. Given we're amongst family here, I may be wrong or right. If somebody's adding Nano K, Nano Zinc to their spray tank and there's other stuff in there, there's still room on that Trojan horse to load other things in that molecule, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, back to the question that was asked. We typically, 9 times out of 10, will sell and promote NanoPro. It's the easiest thing for the farmer to remember, the dealer to remember. But in situations where plants calling for more potash, we sold quite a bit of Nano K during reproductive growth stage with fungicide application, because the soybean plant is pulling so much potash during that time frame. So in a situation like that, where that grower knows they want a specific nutrient, or that nutrient is significantly important to that crop at that time, the Nano K might work better, and you're still getting the load to some degree on the rest of that molecule. And then the Nano Zinc, adding it to starters, if we know that they're adding zinc, they want more zinc. It gets to, it's like, why would I just put the NanoPro in there if I can put NanoPro in there that's got a little zinc with it? That type of thing. So I think it's more situational, crop, and specific need.
Any questions? Yes.
When you're tank mixing, we have problems mixing zinc with lots of other liquid products. If we add any of the nanotechnology, will that help with compatibility of product mixing that we've currently been dealing with phosphates and zincs and potassiums and some of those as they precipitate out?
Yes.
Does it solve it completely, or does it just help some?
if it's gonna solve it completely. You still gotta mind your tank mix order. But going out at 4 ounces to the acre, we've been able to make tank mixes that just make people shake their head. Like, you can't do that, but we do it, and we do it successfully. Calcium and phosphorus, calcite, easy every time, not a problem. Or 4 ounces to the acre. So, tank mix problems tend to go away.
Can you talk more about that calcium and phosphorus?
So we do it in strawberries all the time. We're going out at 100 gallons of water an acre, foliar sprays. We're putting the calcite product in the tank mix very early. Phosphorus goes in later, and we don't have problems.
And you put the Nano-N in between there. So you Nano-N your phosphorus, and then you add your calcium later?
In that situation, we're not putting nano in. We're just focused on the calcite product, because that was, that's what we're chasing. is calcium.
Yes.
Just to touch here on that phosphorus and calcium, I did a tank mix in the lab at 250% fill capacity and sat for 2.5 weeks with no precipitation. Excuse me.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, sir.
I just have a question for, what are your competitors in your geography saying about you guys selling this to your customers?
Let's, yes, do you want to take that one?
They love us and they want to buy from us
I don't really care. I haven't heard anything really. I think it comes down to a sound agronomic approach. I think is what we hang our hat on, and just kind of explaining that these products are going to help enhance our very sound program. And I think that the way that we go out and present the products, we don't really make too many outlandish promises. So I think that that's really important when you're representing these products is just managing expectations and under promising and over delivering is been our approach.
Sunny?
Other thing I would suggest, because we haven't run into that much, I do have 2 comments. If somebody were to naysay it to one of my customers, I'd ask them to go back and ask them where his straw date is. If he's going to put it down, he needs to have something to back it up with. But I believe, everybody in this room should be proud of themselves, because I feel like we are a service. This type of environment is a service to growers. And the reason why I say that is, having worked for some small to medium-sized companies forever and having helped some smaller companies bring some products to market, if it weren't for people like us and companies like you guys, there are some really, really good products on the marketplace. Not just in this particular category, but in the agricultural period. That if a farmer doesn't meet somebody like you, or does a lot of their own research, they'll never find out about it. Because you got somebody that's already knows what he's going to sell him, because he's already based his, his next 6 months out of what I'm going to sell. So, just an opinion. I got a lot of opinions.
Any other questions? So I'll pitch that same, how do you handle competitors, people that aren't necessarily believing in what you guys are doing, Jim up there from Midwest and Chris down in Florida?
One of the things that we try to do, Warren, is explain to them, if they'll give us the opportunity to do a little technology education with them. I'm going to go back to the Johnsons, because this was a kind of a closing in just a couple of years ago on a full section of black turtle beans. The whole section is drain tiled, and they've done a lot of work out there. And what went crazy with them is that they did a spray application, and you saw one of the sons give the statistics on this. They did an 80-acre trial dead center down this full section. So we're talking about other people. We call ourselves the boots on the ground. Anyway, what happened is that and this was another NanoPack, speaking, and I can talk about pro too. We do a lot of work on the pro side when in terms of trials and going out with herbicide applications. We'll ask people to do an 80-acre trial. Don't spray it here, just do your herbicide here so we can take them out and show them. That gives them the opportunity to go back out and respray again too if they, at that second round or whatever they're going to be doing. Anyway, on this 80-acre trial, on this full 600-acre section, everybody that we compete with went kind of crazy over this because this section averaged about 1,900 pounds per acre on the black turtles, where we put down the 4 ounces of NanoPack again. They averaged about 3,200 pounds per acre, and they couldn't figure out how come and why. So that gave us then the opportunity. One of them was a pretty large sized co-op community up there, and then one of the guys that came out was their seed salesman, who you know. And they couldn't, I walked out into the field and there's all these foot tracks out there going, and I called the farmers. I said, man, you had a lot of people out there walking around. Oh, yes, we did. There were people coming from all different communities here who think they're smarter than you guys. Not the technology side of it, but just they're smarter than you because they're wondering why they didn't use some of their products. And why wasn't this the seed answer? How come this? So the seed guy comes out and they finally just shook their heads and said, maybe this stuff is working. We want to learn more. So that gives us the privilege or the opportunity then to set up time to go out and educate and answer questions.
Be ready for them to talk about you. Be able to handle it. You'll win them over though. We've had people, it's, especially early on, competition went nuts. And we're still here. And it's a funny thing, for this technology, the fact that we've persisted to this point and we're still here, that's a trigger enough for some people to buy. People that have known Warren for 25 years, we show up this year, you guys are still here. And that's what it took. So, but they're gonna talk. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. So we need to be kind of wrapping up. So, Keston, we'll start with you. What are you hopeful and excited about as we wrap up 22 and move into 23?
I think our generation is lucky because we have a lot of new technology, whether it be products like the Oculio line or satellite imagery or a lot of the data collection that's happening in the field. Up to this point, a lot of the farmers did the best they could with the little knowledge they had, and really excited to be able to improve the farming environment, utilizing a lot of the stuff that we're lucky to have access to now. So I think that that's probably what we're most excited about moving forward, and just to continue to compete in an industry that we love.
Sonny, kind of the same question. What gets you up in the morning?
To be honest with you, not to sound hokey, but I love getting up. I love life. I love it. I'd much rather talk to a guy that's going to bust my chops about Aqua-Yield or humics or anything else. You know, those are the guys that make the day fun. My partner busts my chops. He makes it fun. Now, but as far as this goes, I'm looking forward to the folks that have come with us to learn more, being here next year and sharing with other people that, hey, I was here last year and I didn't think this stuff was going to count, but I can tell you it works. And one last thing, I'll leave you off with a little redneck analogy that I do a lot with farmers, but it resonates. If you ever get in front of 4 or 5 farmers, 10 farmers, how many ever it is, and you ask them this question, if you go out and put dry fertilizer down and you put all the fertility and chemistry and everything in that tank, is 100% of that going to enter that plant? Is it going to be available to the plant? What is the resounding answer? No. So then I asked him, if you ordered a pizza that came with 12 slices, you only got 8, would you be upset? If you ordered a case of beer and there's only 14 beers in it, would you be upset? Right?
That's fireworks right there.
$3 to $4 to $5 an acre to assure you're getting more out of what you're spending to grow that crop. And sometimes it takes a good food, beer, or fishing analogy to get a farmer to understand chemistry, but it's really that easy, so.
Thank you. Jim, same question. What gets you up in the morning?
What we do. If we looked at it this way and called this work, I'd quit. But we're having fun. We enjoy doing what we're doing. And I can get sometimes in trouble with I love my wife. But I can get in trouble because I'm about 12 months ahead. And when I come up with some thoughts and ideas and in the process of the entrepreneurship like we talked about over there, thinking ahead is something that we're looking forward to every day. And we also have a very strong belief in one thing, that if we're not moving forward, we're going backwards. There is no middle ground, there's no neutral ground. If we're not moving forward, we're just kind of slipping back. And so the opportunities that we've seen in just the last few years, are we looking forward to next year like you just said over there? Yes, we are. And the years yet to come.
Chris, wrap us up, please.
All right. Well, I didn't get to answer the question, what keeps me up at night?
That's it.
It's the same thing, excitement. I'm excited, and that's what gets me up in the morning, because I'm excited. My farmers, my citrus growers, are in the hardest situation they've ever had. Small citrus growers going out of business this year, big time. People are talking about the last nail in the coffin. That's the talk in Florida right now. So I'm excited to go out and help those guys and be more efficient and fight off the high economic fertilizers and other ag inputs and help them get to the other side of it. So this is an exciting technology. It'll keep you up at night for good reasons. So.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you so much.